Hey, I'm Barry Sano from Sunken Mine Railroad, and welcome to the Signal edition of my vlog. These are the Märklin signals that are going to be used throughout this layout. And I'm going to go over some of the history and talk about what I've done so far and put a couple of signals on the layout. Signals were introduced in the 1975 catalog. And the first one that came out was the 8939. And the 8939, I had one and I ended up selling it. It had two incandescent bulbs, little tiny bulbs in it, and then there was a lucite sort of rod that went up inside the signal. And in looking at the early ones, they weren't really very bright, so I decided to go with the LED signals, the newer ones. The cost of the signals today are about 25 to 50 US. And the signals that are available, actually one's been discontinued, but the signals that are available are the 89390 distance signal, the 89391 block signal, the 89392 entry signal, which has 3 LEDs, and the 89393, which is the exit signal, which has really a lot of little LEDs and lights on it. It's for when your station actually comes in and out of where trains can shunt. I'm not going to be putting that on my layout. And then you have the block yard signals, the short one, which is the 89394, and then the tall one, which is the 89395. So like I said, I've already installed a few signals. I've got the 89391 here and here coming out of the station. I've got the end, those are the exit signals, and then I've got block signals here, and there's more over there, and I'm going to put 2 signals here, and then I have 3 distance signals. I've got one that's going to go right here, and I've got one over there, and I've got another one right here. So all in all, there's going to be 14 signals. I'm not going to go over wiring them quite yet because the wires on these signals are so fine that I'm concerned that if I start to mess around with them, they're going to break. I already sort of pulled out one off of a resistor. I had to resolder it on. So sort of getting back to the history and what Märklin intended to do with these signals, or intended to. The wiring that comes with the directions, which I have right here. It's basically a little tiny booklet that comes with each signal. Really, the wiring is very, very complex. The idea is that you would run a 16-volt transformer to the relay 7244. The 16-volt transformer has been discontinued. That was the 6002, and I'm not going to be using any of this with mine. I'm going to be using the touch toggles, which I'll do in another video. It does work. I've actually done some testing. So if you look at just the 89391 block signal, which has green and red, go and halt, you would need a 7244, and I'm going to put up the diagram as I'm talking about it. And what you would do is you'd have 2 blocks, and you'd have the train come in, and the signal would turn red when the train entered the block. And then you'd have, to sort of add to the complexity, you have the 89392, which has the go that proceeds slowly, which is green and amber, and then red, which is halt. You'd have to have 2 7244 relays, the 16-volt transformer, and then that would be wired in a similar manner. And then moving up from there, it just gets more complex. The 89393 has, sort of the same kind of thing. And then it sort of works its way up to the full-on 89393 with all of the aspects and all the whistles and bells, and that would be, you would need 4 7244s. Now, if you're doing the math on this, on eBay or your favorite Z-Scale dealer. Each one of those relays is about $50, if you can imagine that. So if you're thinking about doing 4 of them, that's $200 plus the signal is another $50. So pretty soon, and then you can't get those 16-volt transformers, but they're on eBay for anywhere from like $39 to $80. So you can imagine that like each one of these would be over $100 to wire, which I think is kind of crazy. So that's why I'm not using the system. Plus, if you look at the diagrams I posted earlier, the number of wires that you would have to like sort of connect into, it's just gonna get crazy. So having said all of that, I'm not sure when Märklin introduced the LEDs, they were probably, I think they're made by Weissman, but don't quote me on that. The LED ones are significantly brighter than the incandescent little bulbs. So these are all going to be LED. I've done quite a few, and really the challenge is around really unboxing these. The wires on the Blockyard signals are actually look like windings. The wire is so fine, it's like microscopic. So as I mounted these, I've just sort of taped them underneath, and I'm gonna not touch them until I'm ready to actually do the wiring, and I'll be soldering everything. So having said that, let me unbox one of these. I've got 3 left to install. These 3 right here. The 89390, which is the distant signal. The 89391, which is the block signal, and then the 89392. So unboxing the 89390 looks like this. Then it has the wires down here, which are fragile. This distant signal has 5 wires coming out of it. So when you open it up, you need to really carefully untwirl the wires, because if you spend a lot of time, they will kink and you will have issues in the future. So you have to spend a lot of time sort of slowly unwrapping them so as not to kind of kink them. And every signal is like this. So you don't want to twist them. You want them to come off so the wires are straight. So kind of unraveling them as you go along. And then at the ends are 5 wires. And then the other thing you have to deal with is getting them out of the cardboard, because you can't pull all 5 of these wires through this hole, which is pretty much the same thing that's going to happen when you do your layout. So you have to remove this plastic coupling off of the bottom, and some of them don't come off very easily, so you can kind of carefully twist them. But I found a better way, which is to take a small screwdriver like this and just push the signal out of it from underneath carefully, and that seems to work pretty well. So if you go in here and just make sure you're not touching a wire and just kind of push it, it'll pop out the other side. And then this thing's going to slip off. But again, you're going to have to pull these out one at a time, because the diodes and the resistors are almost the same size as the hole. So go slow and take your time and do one at a time, and they'll come out. They'll come out fine. This goes a little bit easier if you push them rather than pull them out. And again, I had one separate when I did that. So now this thing is off. And now the second thing that you need to do is get them out of this hole in the cardboard. And again, what I found is if I take an X-Acto blade and I pull the wires away from the hole and then cut away from the signal diagonally, and then this way you can just remove it as a unit. So here's the distance signal right here. I like to test them before I put them in the layout because it'll be harder to pull it out. So I'm going to get a 9-volt battery, which is convenient. The diode's going to go to the plus side. And then I can hook all of the other wires up and just kind of test them all. And so far, I haven't had any issues with the factory wiring from these things. There we go. Now to get into the layout, I'm going to move this guy here. I've already pre-drilled a hole here. And so the hole is going to be, you're going to first drill a pilot hole. These need to be 10 millimeters away from the center of the track. I like to do a little bit more. And then on curves, they need to be 15 millimeters away from the track. With the canton area, I'm lining them up sort of where the canton area is. They're very close. I've been running some trains around in there. They are extremely close. However, as long as you follow that guideline, the trains won't hit them. So I drilled a pilot hole of 1.5 millimeters here, where the distance signal is going to go. And then I'm going to drill the final hole, which is 4 millimeters or 5/32 of an inch. And then I clean up the hole a little bit. For this one here, I actually had to drill a little bit, I had to carve a little bit of a channel underneath so it doesn't interfere with the aluminum frame that's not on the layout right now. So to get this in, you're going to put the 5 wires through here, one at a time. Trying to tangle them up. And once you get them through, just sort of feed the whole piece in, like this, and then push it into place. I would not glue these in case you have problems in the future with them. And there it is. Beautiful. And then I'll tape these underneath here in a little while so they don't hang down and get caught on anything. So let me drill 2 more holes in. I'll put the other 2 signals in. So I've already decided I'm going to locate them, one here and one here. This is an entrance signal, and I'm going to have an entrance signal for the station, and I'm going to have a block signal for this turnout here. So first thing we're going to do is drill a pilot hole. And then we're going to drill the 4 millimeter hole. Try to make sure the drill is parallel or perpendicular to the horizontal part of the layout. Otherwise the signal may lean one way or the other. I'm going to move this so I don't damage it. Okay, so make sure you drill a hole perpendicular to the flat surface so that they don't move around. Now I'm going to open the 391, which is the block signal. Oh, and by the way, all these signals come with an instruction booklet, and make sure you take the little decorating stickers off of the back of this, because you can label the different signals with this, which is clever. So here's a 391. This has two aspects, so it's going to have 3 wires, 1 diode, and 2 wires with a resistor, and they're heat shrink tubed with red and green to make it easier to connect to. So again, the same thing. I'm going to carefully unravel this without kinking it. And then we'll do the last one. Here's the 89392, which has 3 LEDs, which means it has 4 wires coming off of it. A green wire, yellow wire, red wire, and the diode. And that's how you install the signals. Have a great day.